Hi, this is Deanna Kosaraju, founder of Global Tech Women. Welcome to Voices 2015. This is version 3.0 of our annual conference for women in tech around the world, celebrating the week of International Women's Day. So we're really happy that you're able to join us today. Send any feedback, questions, comments to me at deanna@globaltechwomen.com. We have a Facebook group with over almost 4,000 women in it. We have a LinkedIn group, and you can also follow us on Twitter at Global Tech Women, hashtag Voices 2015. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about Spreecast, and then we're going to get started with the talk, just so that you know kind of your way around the virtual room here. There's a chat window over here on the right-hand side. Feel free to say hello and introduce yourself. You have to be logged in with Spreecast in order to take advantage of the chat window, and that's also where we will field questions. So if you have any questions at all, throw them in the chat room and we'll get them to our speaker. Second thing, we are going to have a slide deck. So when that slide deck comes up, you can drag and drop it anywhere on the screen so you can watch the speaker, you can follow along with the PowerPoint presentation, and you can use the chat window. And you will have to advance the slides on that PowerPoint. So our speaker will let you know what slide she's on, and then that way you can follow along with her as she's going through them. So I hope that answers anyone's questions. Feel free to ping me if you have any issues with connections or questions about Global Tech Women or this session. Happy to help you in any way I can. So with that, I would like to introduce this session. This is, I believe, session 4. I believe so. This is a really interesting talk. It's on a communications platform that has been built, and it provides your school, your child's school at your fingertips for busy parents. So, you know, many of us have children where it's really hard to keep track of what's going on in their school, keeping up with their grades and communications with teachers and so on, and what's going on in the school. So we have the fortunate experience of listening to Nirupama Mallavarupu, and she is the CEO and will be talking about how she built this platform and kind of her journey on the entrepreneurial trail. So with that, Nirupama, go ahead and take it away.
Thanks, Diana, and thank you for giving me this opportunity and organizing this fantastic conference. So today I'll be talking about my entrepreneurial journey and building better connected school communities with MobileArq School Directory Plus. So I'm going on to slide 1. The outline of my talk is mainly covers my journey to entrepreneurship, why MobileArq, and the lessons learned on this journey. So from my teenage years, I was always fascinated with computers. Of course, I had no access to them, but I had read about them. So I was thrilled when I was offered a seat at the Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore, to be in the BE program, the Bachelor of Engineering in Computer Science. I enjoyed doing that. And after a couple of years of working in India, I went on to came to America to do my master's at Georgia Tech. And I specialized in parallel computing. And while there, I also worked with the threads and monitoring system, building a system called Falcon that basically provided visualizations of threads performance. And so it was like massively parallel computing, and people needed to know how their programs were working. So that was a very interesting transition for me. And I'm on now to slide number 5. And this is how I also got my first job in the US. Of course, I had teaching assistant jobs in Georgia Tech, but this was my first real job at TransArc. Transoc was a very innovative company that was born out of Carnegie Mellon University, and they were building the very first transaction monitor in those days, pre-internet days. This was something that is somewhat like an application server these days, but it provided an environment for client-server computing and multi-threaded and remote procedure calls, complete distributed environment. And I learned all my ropes there about distributed and parallel computing. And from there, I moved on to the Oracle kernel group, where I worked in on recovery algorithms in the kernel group. Now I'm on to slide 6. So it was wonderful moving from the cold Pittsburgh area to the Bay Area, and also work in this elite group of engineers in the Oracle kernel. And from Transarc to Oracle was a huge transition too, in terms of learning databases and understanding all the internal of how a database works. So in those days, the internet wave was going on. It was really hot in the Bay Area, and I was in a few years I was offered a job at the first application server ever built in the industry called Net Dynamics, and so I was happy to join this group because I learned again a lot of new technologies there. Java, it was just getting there. It was being evolved. J2EE, people are familiar with it. The specifications were being created just then, so it was a very exciting time to be at Net Dynamics and Sun and be involved in their application server. And along the way, motherhood also came along. I had my first boy at that time, and this actually this was a blessing, but I also discovered soon the challenges of working full time and managing a child. I'm on slide 9 now. I'm sorry, I haven't been telling you the slide numbers. I'm on slide 9 now. So I was in the Bay Area, but I now moved to New York. My husband had found a job here, and the atmosphere was completely different. And here I found opportunities to dive into open source. I worked in a ground level startup, Site Acuity, where we built a web intelligence and customer care portal. Now it's ubiquitous, these kind of web intelligence portals. So when you go on to any site, they help you with chat and questions and what they can do for you based on your previous purchases. So this is what we built ground up, and we were very proud to be named one of the most promising startups in those days. And the achievement for me was I built this from ground up with no code at all, brand new code, all based on open source platforms. And it was an enormous achievement for our group there, a very small team of engineers. And BlueNog was again another exciting startup I worked in. It was a venture-backed startup, and we built content management systems and web portals, self-service web portals for institutions like Wellesley, Columbia, NYU, and several healthcare and financial institutions. So this is what prepared me, I think, for my entrepreneurship, because at this point, I could do anything from doing programming, which I was always doing, but from setting up a web server to, doing systems administration, load balancing, you name it. I could understand all parts of the technology end to end. So whether it was a front end, back end, I even built a chat application. So all of this helped me to become a much more stronger engineer, end-to-end web engineer. So I wasn't restricted only to the back end or servers. So how did I jump into entrepreneurship after all these years in the corporate world and working for others? I'm on slide 10 now, ladies and gentlemen. So actually, I always wanted to learn something new, and at this point, I was looking for something more challenging than programming and architecture and software stacks. I wanted the freedom to explore and learn other areas beyond engineering, like marketing, business development, and it's very difficult to get into these roles when you don't have the experience. And so that was one thing. And the corporate environment sometimes can stifle your creativity. It's not always possible to think out of the box when you have a million things to do and get done by the day. And I was very passionate about giving something better to the world, And I had several problems that I could see in my own life that I wanted to solve. So I jumped into entrepreneurship, and my first foray was into building. Ladies, again, I'm on slide 11 now, and my first entry into entrepreneurship was building an online portal that would allow collaboration between neighbors. So it was basically to build micro communities of neighbors. So anyone could join a certain community based on the street they lived in or the zip code they lived in. And you would be instantly connected to the other neighbors in this community. So, but after much user feedback and research, though I built a minimum viable product and it was being used locally, I found that not many neighbors really wanted to know their neighbors, especially in places like New York City, So, although this seemed like a great idea, that was one of the issues. And the other one was that this needed a massive amount of capital to take off because you needed to spread the word and you have to get enough people in the community to participate and community managers and more. So I moved on to thinking about and creating solutions for parent-teacher organizations in schools. I'm on slide 12, ladies, and this is a private online network for PTOs. Now, parent-teacher organizations play a very important role in the school. In fundraising, they are an advocate and voice for parents and the bridge between sometimes the Board of Ed and Board of Education and the parents. And in addition, they are the backbone of the school in running fundraising activities and communicating with parents and enrichment activities for the students. So I as a parent of two boys by now, I was trying to keep on top of everything. And I felt the need to be connected to the rest of the community in the online at least. And so I built a school collaboration portal with the cooperation of my local school, where parents could go in and talk to other parents in a group of their class or the entire school, and they could get all the information about the school right there. But then people were moving on to mobile apps. And websites are only useful until they're visible on your computer. But what about your mobile? And every time I talked to a PTA, one of the needs that came up was a printed school directory that they created, which took an enormous amount of time for them. So the challenge was that they had to collect the parents' information and they had to get consent from the parents to produce this directory. Again, ladies, I'm on slide 14 now. And this involved an enormous amount of labor and money to produce the directory. But at the same time, even as this directory was an extremely valuable tool for a parent like me. It contains all the contacts of the address of the parents, their phone numbers and addresses. However, I found that these directories are out of date even as they're getting printed. And short of tying it around my neck, I could never find this directory when I needed it the most. So these directories are very useful for arranging a play date, a carpool, or a pickup. And if you have a question about when your chess team is meeting or an after-school club is meeting or the spring break dates or to contact a teacher, this was an essential tool. So this is why the parents had a problem in that this was not a convenient solution, having a printed directory which is out of date and cannot be carried everywhere. And for the PTA, it was a huge problem too. And this is why I came up with MobileArq. I'm on slide 18, ladies. MobileArq is a solution for both the PTAs. MobileArq School Directory Plus is a solution for both PTAs and parents. So, on to slide 19. For parents, we provide their school community at their fingertips. This is accessible anywhere, anytime on the phone and as a mobile app, but also on all the other platforms. And, they can call, email, or text any teacher right then and there, without having to go and search in this paper directory. And they get all their events and reminders, and the best part of all, they can chat with other parents in groups. So it's wonderful. So you can, if you're carpooling with 3 other people, you can create a group and talk to them, about all the logistics. And PTA created a lot of committees, which usually they do volunteer activities, and they can use this too. Now, for the PTA again, there's a huge win. I'm on to the slide number 20 now. And for the PTA, we created an entire platform where they could manage their membership dues, their directory, their communications. They could create newsletters, send it out to an entire grade or the entire school. And best part of all, they could print this with a click of a button. So they could print a PDF version of this directory by just doing a print function from here, from their platform. Their own private and secure network. That's the best part. This is private and secure, and we try our best not to make it Googleable. So the security is taken very seriously in this because this contains parents' information, their contacts. So we make sure that only the parents in the school can register for it. We do security audits on the server end, and we make sure that this is not available to anyone outside the school. So what are the benefits to the PTA? They can increase their revenue, they save time, and they can increase membership using this. And not only that, all of their communications are done easily in one place, and they can keep track of everything right in one place. So there are PTAs, for example, that have raised over 100,000 using this, an entire district in less than 4 to 6 months. And in less than a month, sometimes when school opens, they're able to raise as much as 60,000. So it's a win-win for everyone involved with the district-wide directories. So we collaborate with PTAs, we streamline the processes of, collecting directory information, consent, communications, and all this paperwork is reduced completely with our platform. So today we have over 50 schools and 40,000 users across 10 states and more joining as we speak, which is great. And some of the skills I had to learn for this, ladies, I'm now on slide 24. was it went way beyond engineering. Engineering only you can build the product, but if you build it, will they come? So learning marketing, learning how to sell was one of the biggest experiences for me, learning experiences for me as an entrepreneur. As an entrepreneur, you have to be able to sell your idea to other people. You have to be able to sell your product to your customers, and also to other people to join your team. You have to be able to sell your idea. So it is a persuasive, it's about believing in your idea and actually helping others to collaborate with you and make it rewarding for them. For example, a lady in Colorado joined us recently on our sales team, and she loves doing this, because we help her to learn about the product, and it's helping her to do something that would be rewarding for her. So what were some of the entrepreneurship lessons learned in this whole, in creating this product? Number one is there's never a good time to start a company. The stars will never align. You'll never have enough time, money, or resources, and there's always something you're waiting for. Nothing will be perfect enough for you to start a company. So if you have an idea today, you should start working on it immediately. Don't wait for something else to happen or something else in the sequence to happen, because that will never, everything will never be perfect. And another thing is entrepreneurship is about being comfortable with being uncomfortable. I don't know if I'm conveying the idea across, but it's being comfortable with discomfort. So you have to be prepared for risk, and with that slight amount of discomfort, so that it'll egg you on to move forward faster. And of course, moving from a full-time job where someone else is taking care of your paycheck every month to being an entrepreneur is not easy financially. So the security of a full-time job is not there. So you need to have a financial backup plan until your idea takes off. So whether it's part-time or whether you're going to plan out how you sell it and make money out of this, I think there is a certain period of time you have to be ready for when you'll be working extremely hard and not seeing financial results, because you have to test and make sure that see what the market will be ready for. But I believe that every solid idea, definitely there is a way to market, and if there is, the customer thinks there is something in it, if there is a need for it, you can always sell it. And the next thing is finding a good mentor, is extremely important. Somebody who's been there and done that will always really help. And everyone has something to offer, of course, but you need to find a mentor who's suitable for you. Selective and quality networking. What do I mean by that? Basically, you have to network with the right kind of people for your business and for your thought process. And just accumulating a number of cards is not networking. It's about actually making connections, someone you can relate to, you can talk to, and who can bounce ideas off each other. So you need to network with those kind of people, and that will help you immensely in moving forward. And these days, there are a lot of places where you can find such people, including meetup groups, accelerators, incubators, and co-working spaces where you can find these people. And one important thing that we all know in life is you have to give before you can ask for help. As an entrepreneur, you need to ask for help always. You need the help of a number of people along the way, and you have to give first before you can get something. And that principle applies in entrepreneurship too, and you'll find that it'll be very rewarding to give and give back to the community and get something in return. But there are a number of generous people out there who have been able to help us, And we are very thankful for finding this support. So once again, I am Niru Mallavarupu, and we are building better connected school communities at MobileArq. My information is right here on slide number 25. Please do contact me if you have any more questions, and I'm happy to answer any questions from the audience now. Diana?
Hey, I was pressing the button just as you said, Deanna. That was an amazing talk. I think that a lot of the issues, the learnings that you told us are many of the topics that we hear in our Facebook group. Um, Things like, how do you find people who are going to help you get there? Because not everyone has all of the skills required to be a successful startup. You're kind of part financial person, part salesperson, part software designer, part developer, and HR, and all of the other infrastructure things that you need to be. So how did you go about assembling the group that you're working with to shore up those needs to make sure that everything is functioning all at the same time?
Yeah, I used my network of friends, of course. So on the engineering side, of course, I did need programming help. I couldn't do everything. It was a fairly big platform to implement. So I used some of the contacts I had earlier in my work experience, and they were willing to work with me. That was one of the things I used, and I still keep a team of programmers in India who are because we are still at an early stage, and we need a team to support us going forward with the features and everything really fast. So we use that help. Now, on the financial planning, and we ourselves, me and my co-founder Anand, we learned QuickBooks, and we did a lot of learning on how to keep track of all our financial needs and invoicing and all of the needs that come with getting customers. In addition, we do have an accountant who helps on a part-time basis, and we have a great mentor and advisor, one of my friends who's a portfolio manager who did all the financial plans for us on projections and that kind of stuff. And we have picked up a lot of skills along the way. We now learn to manipulate Excel like like professionals, and use those formulas. You would think if you know math, you can do Excel, but I think there are a lot of tricks involved in Excel.
No, I
And you
don't. I don't
literally
think
can
those are related at all. Really, I don't.
gobbledygook, all of that we learned. At least enough to understand and manipulate our models and see what's happening when plugging in numbers and getting output from that, all of that. And we also went through an accelerator program called Tech Launch in New Jersey, where we had we went through some courses on financials. We had it was a fast track MBA, I would say, where they taught us a number of things, and at least we got in touch with a number of people in the network, in the entrepreneurial network, that helped us a lot.
So you think that going through an accelerator is a really good way to kind of augment the MBA skills that some people may or may not have? That's a question I get a lot from women in tech is, I have engineering degree. Should I go back and get an MBA before, I go to my startup? I have this great idea, but, do I need that MBA?
Yeah, you know what? These days, the MBA is a big question. I think MBAs are also a place where it's a place you go to for networking with like-minded people, and, actually starting a company from an MBA. But I think it's a very expensive program also, So in my opinion, if you, I'm not sure some of the MBA programs, if they're even talking about lean startups and all that kind of stuff. From what I heard, they're not as much. So I feel after doing this, I don't think you need an MBA really. I think what you need to learn really is how to do a lean startup, because it's no use for MBAs what they've taught over the years is pour money, recruit a big team, but those ideas have changed drastically now. Everyone knows you have to start lean, you have to build a lean model. First, you need to find your customers. In fact, I love some of the mentors, in the startup circles like Shamana who talk about this, right? Get your first 100 customers before you build the product. And so, once you get the product market fit, right? Build the product and gradually find the fit. That is what, if you're doing a product-based solution or a services-based solution, whatever solution you're offering, first find the customers. And if you need skills along the way, there are many ways. Skillshare, General Assembly. There are so many places now where you can go and learn and pick up those skills easily.
Yeah.
So
Well, you led into my next question, which was about, the kind of the pivot, as you have an idea, you're a mom, so you have an idea of what you want. You had that a manual of names, and you wanted to automate that. But then as you meet more people, they all have ideas about what it is they want. So what is the process for you determining what goes into your product and what doesn't? Because that's part of the problem with entrepreneurs is they get so many forms of input that it makes it difficult to decide which ones they're actually going to go with.
Absolutely. So what we do, right, we have regular surveys. We are always in touch with our customers, almost every day, in fact. And we have over 40,000 users now. And so we get feedback, we do feedback with them. It's very hard, but you have to literally dig into their feedback and see what they're trying to tell you. And sometimes, like Steve Jobs says, customers don't know what they need, really. Nobody knew really, that this was much needed. They just went on producing these directories. And, they would basically print it day in and just see, you can see mine is in tatters almost because, I used it so much. And every year it's a different directory because people change, your class group changes for your kid. It's like a challenge, keeping up with these books. I have about 10 books sitting at home.
Wow.
And still they get, so the thing is people didn't know this and they're still resistant. If you go to the middle and high schools, the older parents, they're like, we love our paper books. We don't want that. No, we don't like those apps. So we're fine with that. So what we do is we provide the app and the printed directory.
Okay.
It's a transition. Now, coming to your question, what do we put in? We take that survey and we ask them back the same questions. And when we get a majority feedback, right, we try to go in that way. We can get the vibes. Everyone is asking us for certain features and it's coming out in June because we know this is what everyone is going to love,
Yeah, yeah. That's fabulous. This is great insight into, being an entrepreneur. A lot of these issues that you've mastered are going to be issues that people in this audience and people who watch the recording are going to come across. So having your insight is very valuable. So unless anyone has any else, I clearly need some more coffee. If anyone has any other questions, we'll go ahead and close out. But I want to thank you so much for this wonderful talk. I've learned a lot. It's hugely valuable. I'm definitely going to refer this session to women in our Facebook group who are asking those questions about MBA or when do I start or how do I get started. This is going to be a primer, I think, for them on what to do. So thank you very much.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me. It's an honor and a privilege to be here.
All right. Well, and you have her contact information, so once she gets done with her 40,000 users, she'll send you an email. But probably by the end of the month, it will probably be double that. And please stay in touch with us and let us know how it's going. We'd love to hear how the product grows and thrives, and we can learn more things from your organization and from you.
Thank you very much, Diana.
Okay, we're going to sign off for now, and I hope to see everyone in our next session, which is your roadmap to an extraordinary future. Although I think we've primed the pump in terms of a possible extraordinary future. So I hope you will join us for the next session. Take care, everybody. Bye.